Hi guys, welcome back to another overthrow disc golf video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I want to make the footwork a little more simple and just break it down in basically two parts. Find an open space and let's get into it. There are basically two parts of the backhand walk-up, right? I'm talking about a 5-step walk-up. So the first step is addressing kind of your target line where you want the disc to go in the end. So that's your first step. It's straight forward at that. I'm a righty, so it's my right foot. If you're lefty, it's gonna be your left foot. First one addresses that. The fourth step, or technically the second step, if you wanna call it that, is a transition step to where we're getting our hips to move here into the next phase of the walk up, which is where our hip, our lead hip, starts going to about, if you're a righty, 10 to 11 o'clock. And if you're a lefty, that's gonna be the opposite. It's gonna be at about 1 or 2 o'clock. So, first step addresses the target line, then we're transitioning with the second step. And now our hip is kind of locked into this 10, 11 o'clock. Remember, our target line is here at 12. And so we're gonna go here. All we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna feel like we're doing a grapevine or a karaoke, and it looks like this. Imagine I was just staring this way. Here, crossover, sidestep, right? So it's just a karaoke there. And the difference is that we're still looking forward. Here, first step, straight at the target line, second step here. Now we're into this side step. The thing that I'm trying to get you guys to avoid is doing this with your hips. This is not a side step here. This is not just a karaoke over this way. That's you turning your hips. That's you doing this. And now you're turning your hips backwards. Loading the hips is not rotating the hips backwards. Loading the hips is loading the hips against the upper body. So the hip needs to stay relatively forward. So again, here's my target line. So in other words, the last step simply looks like this. If my hip was pointed at 10 or 11 o'clock right now, my right hip, my last step would look like this. I'm loaded on my left leg. That's it. It's a side step, okay? It's not a forward step like this to stagger. You don't force the stagger like that. It's just a side step here. You can imagine this is an athletic stance, right? Volleyball, they take receive here. Tennis, this is the split step. Linemen in football, this is a very natural athletic stance, not this. Okay, look how awkward that looks.
That looks like a sumo stance.
Yeah, but they're like, hoi. So the reason that we're staggered, the reason why I'm saying is you don't have to step forward is because when we're here, once you karaoke, here's where, with this step, now with the X, my insole is lined up to this 10 or 11 o'clock. So from here, if I just sidestep, like if I just put both my feet together and sidestep here, from your perspective, it looks like my feet are staggered, but I didn't intentionally stagger them like that, right? It's just now that my hips are lined up this way and I sidestep this way, from my original 12 o'clock step, it looks, oh, he's staggered. But it's just a side step here, right? A lot of people try to force this, and now your weight's going in weird directions. The other thing that a lot of people do is they come here, and now here they start with the swivel hips, so they go here, and then they go back. And when you do this, now in order to step here and get to where you know your foot should be, people have to correct and go like this. They go from here, and now they put their foot here. But you see what happens when I start pulling my foot this way? If my foot's pointed too far back, I can't sidestep anymore, or else I'd be over here, right? Which is not happening. So, but when people get here, they end up putting their foot where they know it should be, and watch my hips. There's a partial turn here just in the step, right? And then they have to complete the turn. And so it's a two-phase opening of the hips. Pros, they just go here, and then they keep them on line here until everything's set. And then once this front foot hits and starts driving, then they fire it all at once. So it's one fast motion instead of two, part A, part B, which is way slower. So there's a lot of power there to be had, a lot of speed to be gained right there. Last thing, you wanna keep your weight loaded into your back leg. So for me, as a righty, that's going to be my left leg. So I'm gonna go just kind of a rhythm of the footwork. I'm gonna go right, left, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm here. I'm loading into this leg, and now I wanna make sure that when I step, I'm not coming over. This is loading the weight into my right leg. I don't wanna do that as a righty. I wanna step, keeping my weight on this back leg. Helps to have the hip up and the lead shoulder up. Here, here. And now my side step looks like that. And now my hips are here and I can coil my upper body against this as I stride. And I can take this differential, or the difference between how far my shoulders and my hips are, and I can uncoil my upper body against my loaded lower body, loaded down into the leg very quickly. And that's where you get your power from. There we go. So first step, addressing the target line, transition step, and now we're locked in at this 10 or 11 o'clock, and I'm gonna karaoke here. So that's the last step. So from the side, it would look like this. Addressing my target line with my first step. Now this is just a transition step here. And now my hips are locked in. So my hips are gonna travel here, and I'm just gonna go crossover, side step. That's what it is. And from here, now I can do everything I need to do. That's footwork, very simple. The things that we're trying to avoid, again, is the over rotation of the hips backwards here. This is, what is that? And that's it. Done, that was footwork. That was
Fortnite right there.
That's Fortnite made simple. Tell your kids. That was footwork made simple. I think it's helpful to get a kind of macro feel perspective on what footwork is. I go over this a lot in my lessons. It helps you load the legs. I think sometimes we think about activating hips and stuff like that, and we make it too active in a sense. So hope you enjoyed, hope that's helpful. If it was, share it with somebody else. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Peace out.